Welcome everyone, happy Halloween, and welcome to the last but not least episode of the Evil Month Spooky Seasonal Series I had been doing this entire month so far. Be sure to check out the last seven episodes that I have done breaking down each of the 7 deadly sins. This episode, we're going to be sort of recapping all of them, and, you know, of course I wanted to save the most evil, the most, the recap of all of them, not just one, but 7 in one episode for the worst day, which is Halloween. What are you guys dressed up as today? Let me know in the comments below what you are dressed up as today. I'm very curious. By the way, this is not a costume. This is my pre-costume. I do not have the time to put on my costume before this episode, unfortunately. Anyway. So, yeah, today we're going to be breaking down, basically recapping each of the 7 deadly sins and how they overlap with each other. Because I've mentioned this multiple times throughout my last episodes. Again, go check those out. How it seemed like they overlapped a lot. And I was like, you know what? We're going to do an entire series just breaking this down. Last year's bonus episode for my Evil Month was on Woman's Wrath. It was like a second video on Wrath. I would love to do that again. I'm thinking maybe waiting until next year for that one. It's not going to happen this year, I'll tell you that much right now. But I'm debating, do you guys want another one on that topic? Because I love planning things out way in advance. It's absolutely mind-boggling to me. I mean, as soon as I finished Evil Month last year, I was already starting it again for this year, and this year is already upon us, and here I am. So let me know what you guys want more of, any other topics you have. I'm completely open. I thought it would be kind of cool, too, to do a video on, or an episode on murder. I know that's not a sin, but I thought it would be, a really interesting topic. And not, literally about killing people, because that would be weird and dark and wrong, but on kind of, the psychology of what goes into that mindset and, how to be a killer in your life. You know what I mean? Don't worry, I would put a spin on it. It's not like it sounds. Anyway, welcome. If you're new here, don't let me scare you off yet. We're just getting started. So this month, we've been breaking down each of the 7 deadly sins and what we can learn from each of these 7 deadly sins, how we can apply it to our life, take something meant to harm us and use it to our advantage, and so forth. When we break down and learn how these sins overlap, we can better understand how they influence each other and how they influence then our decisions and how we can break free from this negative hold that it has, because you can't change what you don't acknowledge. When you acknowledge it, you can change that, right? And we can explore how these sins feed off of each other and how it affects our career. Okay? So we're going to start with pride and envy. How comparison and self-destruction correlate. Pride can make you believe that you deserve a lot more than other people do, while envy makes you resent their success. When these two sins overlap, you may start comparing yourself to others, and not from a place of inspiration, but from entitlement. You might think, why are they succeeding? I am better than them. This mindset not only builds resentment, but it also closes off learning opportunities from others' success. You stop growing because you're too busy feeling entitled or envious. You may burn bridges with other entertainers instead of celebrating with them and learning from their wins. So if you humble yourself and remember that everyone else's path is different, your path is different, everyone is on their own path, use envy as a signal for what you want. But let pride fuel you to your own personal development and not to comparison. Speaking of comparison, lust and envy, and how these two correlate. So obsessive craving and attention and validation. Oof. Don't we know a thing or two about these? Okay, envy and lust overlap. You start desiring not just success, but the validation and the attention that comes with it. And you're not just jealous of somebody's career. You want their fame, their recognition, their influence. You start obsessing over the external rewards that they have rather than the craft that they've created. And more than the work put in itself, which is really what it all comes down to. The ambition, it all comes back down to the drive, right? The fuel, which is originally rooted in pride. I digress. Okay, you make choices based on immediate recognition rather than long-term goals. This can lead to risky or impulsive decisions that harm your reputation. And it can harm your brand. It can harm your relationships in the industry. You need to refocus on your craft and remember why you started. Success that lasts is built on passion. I see this in relationships and in business, especially in your career too. Not on the fleeting desire for validation. Once again, this goes back to relationships. Let your passion drive your actions, not your envy or lust for fame. On to gluttony and greed. Correlates with overconsumption and materialism. When gluttony and greed overlap, you find yourself hoarding opportunities, gigs, resources. You're always in a state of wanting more without considering if they truly align with your goals. By the way, did you know that gluttony actually comes from it comes from a broke mentality. When you're broke, you have this belief that you need to have everything. Like, what if I never have a chance to buy this again? But the more that you hoard, the less clean obviously your place is, and then the more clutter you have, you aren't even aware of what you have, therefore you buy more than you realize because you always think that you need things that you actually have, and then you're actually hurting yourself. Rich people are super clean. Not always, but there's the exceptions and then there's the rule. Rich people are clean. And cleaner people are usually rich. It goes hand in hand. So anyway, gluttony is a broke mentality. It's partly, I think, why it's a sin. Not so much the fact that people feel the need for more, but the fact that it just doesn't usually lead anywhere good. It usually leads you down a hole that you don't want to go down. Anyway, so always wanting more without truly aligning with your goals. And then if you say yes, to everything, you've convinced yourself that having more is always better, but without strategy or balance. I was thinking of my clothes, for an example. I used to always be really embarrassed that I didn't have a lot of clothes. I had a decent closet full of clothes and they were nice. The things I had were nice, but I didn't have a lot, and my friends would have so many clothes that their entire closet was just overflowing with clothes. And I always just felt broke because I didn't have all those clothes. But the thing is, they would only wear the same 3 shirts anyway. They had all these clothes that they didn't even know what to do with. And they probably weren't as nice. They might have been more like Walmart clothes. You know what I mean? So that's the mindset that we want. That's the mindset that I personally love now, is raiding through my closet. The small closet. I'm at the point, where I can have as many clothes as I want, truly. And I don't want a lot of clothes. I want to constantly go through my clothes that I have, declutter, throw out anything that I haven't worn in a year because I don't want it. I just don't want it, you know? Anyway. So if you don't have strategy or balance, it leads to a major burnout, exhaustion. What was the other thing that we had talked about a couple episodes ago? I'm blanking right now, but taking on gigs that don't align with your brand or long-term vision, you may also develop a reputation as someone who's in it for the money or the fame rather than the passion, and that is not something you want. The most admirable athletes, or anyone, truly, singers, artists of any sort that are the most desirable for their work, whatever they do, their art, their performance, are the people who are passionate. Always, hands down. The more passionate you are, all the more it shines through. I really, really believe that what I do isn't admired because of the work that I do. It is because of the passion that I have put into my work. Truly believe this. So practice discernment, because more is not always better. I love personally to focus on, if there's anything I'm going to buy, go, does this benefit my future? If this benefits my future, okay. And if it does not, why would I get it? For literally what purpose? Why? Ask yourself every time you're about to buy something. Question it. Whether it's food, go, does this benefit my body? Does this benefit my bank account? Ask yourself. Ask. Focus on quality over quantity. Quality over quantity. And align your opportunities with your bigger vision for growth. Next is wrath versus pride. It correlates with reacting instead of reflecting. When wrath and pride overlap, you become highly reactive to criticism or setbacks. Your pride makes it hard to accept feedback, and your wrath causes you to lash out when things don't go your way. You take rejection personally and feel a need to prove people wrong, often in destructive ways. It has an impact on your career. Instead of growing from challenges, you burn bridges and you miss out on valuable lessons. Your reputation as someone who is difficult to work with can start to overshadow your talent. Use your pride to stay confident in your abilities, but channel your wrath into resilience rather than anger. Let criticism help you improve, and remember that setbacks are part of the process and not a reflection of your work. Next is sloth and lust. It correlates with avoidance of real work for quick rewards. Sloth makes you procrastinate or avoid the hard work needed for long-term success, while lust drives you to chase quick, superficial wins. Together, these sins create a cycle where you focus on short-term gratification like social media validation instead of pulling in the effort to develop your skills and career. And it has an impact on your career. You waste time chasing attention rather than honing your craft. You might take shortcuts or avoid challenging projects, missing out on real growth opportunities. So break the cycle of avoidance by setting small and achievable goals that lead to bigger wins. Focus on the progress rather than the immediate payoff. And stay committed to the long-term journey. How about we break down greed and envy? It correlates with desiring more than you need to prove your worth. Greed makes you want more than what's necessary, and envy fuels the belief that others are getting more than you. When these sins overlap, you start chasing after what everyone else has, not because you need it, but because you want to prove that you're just as good, if not better, than they are. And this has an impact on your career. You lose sight of your own path because you're too busy trying to outdo others. This creates a constant state of dissatisfaction, as nothing is ever enough to fill the greed and envy cycle. So focus on your own unique goals and path. Success is not about accumulating more than others. It's about achieving what's meaningful to you. Let go of the comparison game and focus on your personal growth. Next is sloth and gluttony. Correlates with wanting everything without effort. Sloth makes you avoid putting in the necessary work, while gluttony fuels your desire for constant consumption of gigs, attention, of all resources. You want to give it your all, but you don't want to put in the effort to earn it. Focus on your own unique goals and path. Success isn't about accumulating more than others. It's about achieving what's meaningful to you. Let go of the comparison game and focus on your personal vision. Sloth and gluttony correlates with wanting everything without effort. Sloth makes you avoid putting in the necessary work, while gluttony fuels your desire for constant consumption of gigs, of attention, of resources. You want to have it all, but you don't want to put in the effort to earn it. This creates a lazy, overindulgent approach to your career, and it impacts your career. You get stuck in a cycle of wanting more but doing less, which prevents you from making real progress. You may accept opportunities just for the sake of having them without considering if they are really right for you. Balance your desires. Without the discipline, action, start small and build momentum by committing to consistent, focused work. It's not about having everything all at once, but about a steady and sustainable growth. To wrap this up, the 7 deadly sins don't exist in isolation. They feed off of each other, creating cycles that can trap you in bad habits and prevent you from reaching your full potential. By understanding how they overlap and influence your decisions, you can break free from their negative impact and turn them into tools for success. This month, we've learned how to transform each sin into a source of growth, and now that it's time to reflect on how they interact in your life and career, make sure they're working for you and not against you. Are you personally ready to break free from the destructive cycle of these sins and start making waves in your career? Let's work together to turn these forces into something powerful, into something fierce. It's time to take control of your career and let these lessons help you to start landing your dream gigs. If you are interested in booking a free discovery call with me, you can book one. The link is in the description below. And you can also find me on almost any social media platform, all linked below at Make Waves Coach and also at Mermaid Cassandra. And also check out my podcast, Make Waves Mermaid Cassandra, available every place podcasts are found. Also check out my book. It's available in the description below. I will talk to you guys soon. It will be in November. Now that I'm saying this, it will be in November. I will talk to you guys in November. Until then, go out there and make waves.